We all know the artifact staples, the cards that go into all of our commander decks. But what about the cards that nobody's playing? Today we're going to be looking at artifact cards that see less than 1% play in all commander decks. Starting off with number 10, Mind's Eye, a 5-mana artifact that says whenever an opponent draws a card, you may pay 1, and if you do, draw a card. This card is only seeing play in 0.69% of all decks. Is a card like this even worth it in 2026? Well, it should definitely be seeing more play because it is a reliable card draw option. Whenever an opponent draws a card, that means at least once a turn, you have the option to put mana into Mind's Eye to draw a card. Mind's Eye allows you to take advantage of the unused mana that you have every turn. Typically, when we are playing, we have access to a few extra points of mana that we're not really doing anything with. Mind's Eye says, what if you could use the wasted mana and actually put it into drawing cards? That's really where Mind's Eye really stands out. And it's also an excellent option in decks that don't really have real card draw, like colorless decks or red decks. And it's only $5.42. This card should definitely be seeing more play. Next is number 9, Mimic Vat. Mimic Vat is a 3-mana artifact with an ability called Imprint. Whenever a non-token creature is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, you could exile that card, and then you have to return whatever card was exiled by Mimic Vat to its owner's graveyard, and then you can pay 3 and tap it, and then you put a token of that creature onto the battlefield. It gains haste, and then you have to exile that token at the end of the next end step. This card's only being played in 0.7% of decks. Really, why only 0.7%? This card is Graveyard Hate that deals with the most annoying, powerful, dangerous cards that your opponents are playing, and it exiles them, so that they're no longer being useful to your opponents. But not only that, it gives you access to them. It allows you to use their most powerful creatures against them. If someone's Balefire Dragon dies, now I get access to that in a deck where I wouldn't necessarily have access to it if I'm not playing red. It is excellent in a more control-y or grindy type of deck where I want to be using your creatures against you. So Mimic Vat is only 50 cents. It should definitely be seeing more play in our commander decks. Next up is number 8, Grafted Exoskeleton. It's a 4-mana artifact equipment that gives your creature +2/+2 and infect. Whenever it becomes unattached from permanent, you just have to sacrifice that permanent. Only 0.71% of decks are playing this. This card is definitely undervalued, I'm guessing by the people who don't like infect, because this card is player removal. It says if you attach this to a creature, it immediately becomes a danger and a threat. Where now, if I hit you, I might just take you out of the game entirely. And with an equipment like this, it becomes a game-ending equipment. Where now, if I give my most powerful creature infect, now all of a sudden, you're in danger of just dying. It allows you to take advantage of the power of a Voltron deck, where you want to be taking players out. But now, instead of getting to 21, I only need to get to 10. And that's where Grafted Exoskeleton really is powerful in decks where I only need to get to 10 damage. And you'd be surprised how quickly Infect piles up. If you also like good cards, you'll put Grafted Exoskeleton into your decks. Next up is number 7, Leering Emblem. It's a 2-mana artifact equipment. I love equipment. Whenever you play a spell, a equipped creature gets +2/+2 until the end of turn. This is being played in 0.03 decks. Why? Why is a card like this barely seeing any play at all? It has explosive potential. It starts out where it gives you no buff whatsoever, but it very quickly scales up. It has a very low investment of only 2 mana to play, 2 to equip, and then every single time you play a spell, any spell, it could be instant, sorcery, creature, any type of spell, immediately your creature has super prowess, where now it's getting +2/+2 until the end of turn. And this spirals out of control really, really quickly. And so it's excellent with a combat focused deck or more of a low to the ground deck, where now if I'm playing 3-4 cheap costing spells, I just gave one of my creatures +6/+6, which, especially on your commander, can do a lot of damage over time. And so this card is only $3.23. It is definitely worth a look if you're looking at playing a more combat-focused type of deck. Put it in your commander decks, and you will not be disappointed. Next up is number 6, Boompile. 4 mana artifact. You tap it, you flip a coin, and if you win the flip, you destroy all non-land permanents. Only 0.3% of decks are playing this, but did you read the card? Did you see what it does? This is a board wipe available in all colors. All colors. That means if you're playing green, now you can deal with your creatures. If you're in red, you can deal with enchantments. If you're black, you can deal with enchantments. If you're in blue, you can deal with everything. Boompile is a hilarious card. It's only 4 mana, and it can potentially blow up all of the non-land permanents on the board. And yeah, It is a coin flip. It is a 50%. It's going to work, 50%. It's not going to work. I just had a game the other day where a Boompile came down and it led to a memorable game moment where now all of a sudden we were invested in the Boompile going off, and the person who had the huge board of dragons, it wasn't me, he was hoping that it was not going to go off. And yet the moment that he flips the coin or rolls the die, whatever he did, and it came up where it was going to destroy all non-land permanents, everybody around the table were cheering, we're all happy. Boompile leads to some memorable, fun game moments. Throw it into your commander decks, you're going to have a blast. For only 58 cents, you can't go wrong with Boompile. Number 5 is Veilstone Amulet. It's a 3-mana artifact that says whenever you play a spell, creatures you control can't be the target of spells or abilities your opponents control this turn. It's only being played in 0.08% of decks, and this is definitely an underplayed card because it's powerful in spell singer decks where we're used to just playing cantrips. Now all of a sudden your cantrips give your creatures instant speed hexproof, where now your commander, whoever it might be, is going to be protected against removal, against your opponents targeting them with abilities. Veilstone Amulet has excellent modal protection for a very low investment for 3 mana. And if you have this draw go type playstyle, Veilstone Amulet says whatever your creatures are that you want to protect, all you need to do is play a card, and any card that you play is going to protect all of your creatures. It's a great investment. Yes, it's a little pricey at $12.65, but Veilstone Amulet will protect your commander, will protect your key pieces. It is an excellent card that should definitely be seeing more play in our commander decks. And number 4, a card you've probably never seen. It's Psychogenic Probe. It's a 2-mana artifact that whenever a spell or an ability causes a player to shuffle his or her library, they get shocked. It's only being played in 0.02% of decks. This is some secret tech stuff because it punishes ramp, it punishes tutoring, all of those things that just escalate the game and help you, the person who's got the super blinged out deck go super, super fast. This card says, what if every time you took a game action, you just got shocked? What if every time you cracked a fetch land, you get shocked? Rampant growth, cultivates, everything. Now you're going to pay the price for it, and it's only for 2 mana. Now, it's good if you have that type of gameplay where you want to have variety, you want to have some type of variance. You don't want to rely on always being able to tutor up the right thing. And a card like Psychogenic Probe, the damage just adds up really, really quickly. And people aren't prepared for it. And nobody's going to be really looking at this card to shoot the removal at because they're like, well, this is also doing damage to all of the other players at the table. But if you're playing this in your deck, design it in such a, or put it in a deck where you're not expecting to tutor a lot or shuffle a lot, because this card will also deal damage to you too. It's only 44 cents. Throw it into your decks and you'll be amazed at how much damage you're going to do with this 2-mana artifact. Number 3 is Minion Reflector. It's a 5-mana artifact that says whenever a non-token creature comes into play under your control, you get to pay 2, and then you got to create a token of it. That's a copy of the creature. That token is haste, and at the end of turn, you have to sacrifice this permanent. It is being played in only 0.05% of decks, but this is an all-star in the right deck. Because in Blink decks or ETB decks, every single creature these days, they all have ETBs, they all have abilities. And now Minion Reflector says, what if you get to have double? But not only just double. It's not like a Panormonicon effect where it just does double. It also gives that creature pseudo haste, as long as it's not legendary, because now I get a second copy of it. So if I have a Balefire Dragon, like I mentioned earlier, I play it, I get to pay 2, so then I get a token copy, but that token now immediately gets to attack. So it gives haste in all sorts of decks that normally wouldn't have it. Now, in a red deck, hopefully you have haste, but in some colors like white or black or blue, you don't really have access to haste. But with Minion Reflector, now you can kind of give your creatures haste while doubling their ETBs. It is excellent value on a 5-mana artifact, and it's only $1.81. Throw it into your ETB decks or your Blink decks and watch and see what happens when you have Minion Reflector on your side of the field. Number 2 is Surveyor Scope. It's a 2-mana artifact where you tap it and exile it, and then you search your library for X basic lands, where X is the number of players who control at least 2 more lands than you. You get to put those in the battlefield, and then you shuffle your library. This card's only in 0.18% of decks, and this is a sleeper ramp pick because it gives you explosive ramp options. We all know that feeling of playing your talismans, your signets, your soul rings, whatever, and then a board wipe goes off, and now you have nothing. and you're just at the bottom of the pile. Surveyor Scope says, what if you were playing red or blue and you want to actually ramp lands? Surveyor Scope allows you to. It gives you explosive ramp options where for 2 mana, you could potentially search up for 3 lands. Remember, Rampant Growth is 2 mana for 1 land. Surveyor Scope can be 2 mana for 3 lands. Now, it isn't guaranteed. It is best if you're going last and everyone else is ramping. It does require you to build your deck in such a way where you have bounce lands or you have fetch lands. And with a Surveyor Scope, you can crack a fetch land and hold priority and then crack Surveyor Scope, and you can go search for all of those lands. This enables land ramp in the non-green decks, and especially since green is just ramping away like crazy, Surveyor Scope is one of those secret tech cards that can definitely help the non-green players at the table rush ahead with their lands. And last but not least, our Dragon Lord pick of the week. The card that is best in Dragon decks is Cryptic Gateway. It's a 5-mana artifact where you tap 2 untapped creatures you control, and then you get to put a creature card from your hand that shares a creature type with each creature tapped this way onto the battlefield, meaning dragon. Only 0.16% of decks play this, and if you look at the Dragon lists, Herald's Horn, a 3-mana artifact that lets you pick dragon, and then dragons cost 1 less, and then you look at the top card of your library. If it's a creature, you get to put it in your hand. That's seeing 21,000 decks playing it. Cryptic Gateway has less than 500. Cryptic Gateway allows you to tap your dragons to add more dragons at instant speed, which means you don't even have to do it on your turn. You can do it on other players' turn. And so you can just be tapping your dragons to play more dragons, and this allows you to have a key piece in a dragon tribal strategy. It creates an overwhelming board state. If you have this and a Miriam on the field, you're going to go bananas because it doesn't say non-token. It says 2 untapped creatures. So with Cryptic Gateway, you can go all sorts of wild with it. This allows you to have an overwhelming board state where your dragons are just creating more dragons. And you know, with your dragon tribal decks, we like to have our Great Henges, we like to have our Up the Beanstalks, we like to have our Temur Ascendancies. So when our dragons are entering the battlefield, we're drawing cards, which means we're probably going to get more dragons, which means we can just tap down our dragons to get more dragons. It is an excellent option. It's 78 cents. If you're playing Herald's Horn, instead, throw in a Cryptic Gateway and watch and see how your dragons overwhelm the table with value. That brings us to the end of the episode. Of the cards that I mentioned, which of them are you going to play? Which of them are you going to pick up for your own personal commander decks? Let me know in the comment section down below which ones I missed, so that way when we go back to the artifacts, I'll have a few interesting tech options. And once again, if you enjoyed this content, remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you again in the next one.